Hey guys, welcome back. What you're looking at is the next pattern that we're going to be doing together. It's from Redheart. The pattern number is LW5996 and it's called Long Boot Warmers. So it's still the perfect time of the year for this type of pattern. So you will need a 5mm H hook, and you will need, of course, any type of yarn you want to use. It calls for Super Saver Redheart yarn in gray, in some sort of gray and white, two separate colors, a gray and a white. I will be using Redheart Love in the gray, and I'm not quite sure yet if I'm going to add the white here for the border, or if I'm going to use a different type of a puffier yarn. I'm not yet sure about that, and you know me, I'm not ever sure about things like that to the last minute, so we will see about that. So you will need to follow along with me so you can learn to read some patterns for those of you who are not quite sure yet how to do that. So as I go through this pattern, I will be going through it a little bit slower. That way I can teach those that are wanting to learn to read some more information as to how to go about reading some of the symbols and abbreviations and things like that. So I will be printing this off. Right now you're looking at it on my computer, but I'm going to print this off. That way, as I go through this pattern line per line, I will also go through and try to help everyone understand how to read it as well. Not just going through it and teaching how to do the pattern, but also how to read it. So go ahead and pick yourself out 2 colors of yarn that you would like to use. And this is classified as a beginner pattern. So beginners, you are very welcome to join in on this, as anyone is. So go ahead and get everything ready, and I will join you back in just a few minutes and we'll get started. Alright everybody, I am back. I have my printed copy here and we are set to go. So I hope you have whatever device you're using or your pattern printed like I have. So basically, I'm going to go over this with you, and I am sorry that it printed off so tiny. I did try to enlarge it, but it didn't enlarge, so you're going to have to deal with this the best you can along with me. So, as we are learning to read patterns, over to the side of our pattern, and I'm going to zoom in here, over to the side that you're looking at, which is going to be over here on, if I'm looking at it, it's going to be on my left side. What it's going to do is, on your patterns, it's going to tell you what you need. So it's going to tell you on this pattern, it's going to show you Redheart Super Saver. It's going to show you're going to need 1 skein of which type of yarn, whichever type of yarn it's going to be. It's going to tell you your gray, and it's going to tell you basically the white or the cream colored yarn, which is Aran, which is going to be your B. A is going to be your main color. B is going to be your secondary color or your second color. And through your pattern you will see where they'll list color A or color B. So this is going to be how you're going to identify when you're changing color. And they say color A, whether you need to switch to color A or color B, so you'll know during your pattern if you need to be on color A or color B. So color A will be your gray, color B will be your Aran color. Then it's going to also tell you what size hooks that you need. Sometimes there's more than 1 hook. Okay? It tells you you will need a yarn needle, which is what I have in my hand. So you can use either your plastic one or your metal one. It will also tell you your stitch gauge. Sometimes it will tell you that the gauge is not important. Some it is, some it's not. It will tell you how many stitches you need to use to get the appropriate gauge. which in this pattern you will need to have 6 stitches to get a 2-inch square or area for this, for 9 rounds. For 9 rounds you're going to have a 4-inch area in this pattern. So it says to get your gauge you use any size hook to obtain this gauge. Okay, so basically this area right here is just for your gauge markings. Okay, and then you'll slide down here and it'll tell you again a little bit more about your yarn. This right here will also be on your yarn, and those of you who have gone and learned about your yarn will teach you. I'm going to slide this yarn paper here. This is what it's mimicking here. This is a 4 medium weight yarn, which is going to be told also right here. So that's going to be your 4 weight yarn. So it's also going to tell you a little bit more here about your yarn. It's going to give you your ounces in yarn. So basically, if I were using the Redheart Super Saver in Heather and Aran, this is giving me the ounces, the yardage, all of the information that would be on this actual piece of paper here. But because I'm using Redheart Love, this is not accurate to this. But if I were, that's exactly the same information here that would match the paper that comes off of the roll. Okay, so just so that's clarified there. Alright, so that's the information that you're going to get on that left hand side there on your paper. So now as we back up, you're going to come up here to the top. It's going to give you a little bit of information on this pattern particularly, and if there are any special stitches or special notes, this is where you're going to find it. And on this one it says your leg warmer will measure 12.5 inches long by 15 inches in circumference at the top edge. Okay, so that means it's going to be 15.5 inches long, but then not wide, well, around, as it's going around your leg, it's going to be 15 inches around, you know, where it's going to come up at the top midways of your leg, and it's going to fit around. Okay, so that's, and then it gives it to you in centimeters because different places measure in different forms. And then right here is going to be your special stitch information. So in your special stitch, and don't get alarmed and don't get thrown off, that's not going to be anything out of the ordinary unless you're a beginner or you're new to crochet. It's just going to tell you what's different other than single or double or half double. And you're going to be using a front post double crochet. Now if you're not familiar with the stitches that are in this section, you need to go back and get yourself familiarized with the stitches in this section before you do the pattern. Okay, so what it's going to tell you in this section is how to do this special stitch or stitches. So it's going to tell you how to do it here, but if you're not familiar with how to do it, you can go back and watch a video that I have underneath my playlist that's listed stitches or stitch patterns. And most of the time I will have these stitches, and if I don't, you can go to my Facebook, or you can leave me a message under a particular video and say this video. If there's something that you would like to learn that you don't see on my YouTube channel, I'm more than willing to do that. So this special stitch here is a front post double crochet, and the abbreviation here is an FPDC. So when you go through this particular pattern, sorry about that guys, you are going to see FPDC through the pattern, and that's what it's going to stand for. It's going to stand for front post double crochet all through the pattern, okay? Because they're not going to take the time to physically write out so much. So that's why the one thing that I always tell, especially the people in my group, is the number one thing, in my personal opinion, to learning to read a pattern is learning the abbreviations charts. You got to find yourself the best abbreviations chart that you can possibly find. And the number one key to learning to read any pattern is to learn the abbreviations. Once you learn the abbreviations, you are pretty well set to learning to read any pattern. And the only other thing you really have to understand is what's in the parentheses, and that's really not that difficult. So don't be intimidated. Okay, so then that's your special stitch section. The next section you will find, if there is one, and there's not always going to be a special stitch section or a note section, but I'm just teaching you what's on this particular pattern and letting you know what is capable of being on patterns. On this one, in the notes, it's telling you that the leg warmer is made in joined and turned rounds from top edge down. So sometimes this will also say is joined in continuous rounds, meaning you're not going to be joining, you're just going to keep working in a continuous spiral or continuous round, which you need to use a stitch marker most definitely to keep up with those rounds. And the number 2 special note here, to make wider or narrower leg warmers, increase or decrease beginning chains in multiples of 4. So if you want to make your leg warmer bigger than what's in this pattern, you'll add another set of 4 at the beginning of your chain. You want to make them a size smaller, then you'll take away a chain, a set of 4 chains at the beginning of this pattern. So for instance, you see starting here where we start the pattern, it says chain 44. If you want to make them a size bigger, you'll chain 48 or 52. Or if you want to make them a size smaller, you'll chain 40. You know, so either way, you can change your size. This is a very forgiving pattern is what we would call that. It means you can alter the pattern size very easily. Okay, and so then from here you go directly to the pattern. Okay, and then this pattern is not very long, so you see it comes through here, then it comes up to the top, and then it takes you here to the edging, which we'll do, and then you go to the finishing, and then we'll do that, and then you come to the abbreviations. So then I've seen most of patterns will have an abbreviations chart for you. So again, like I told you at the beginning of this, A and B equals color A and color B. Okay? CH is going to equal chain. DC is going to equal double crochet. HDC is a half double crochet. Your SC is your single crochet. Your ST and then an ST with an S followed by it is either stitch or stitches. And then anytime you see your asterisk and then followed by another asterisk at the end of a particular row is going to always mean repeat that whatever is in between the beginning asterisk and the end asterisk. You are going to repeat everything that's in between that asterisk. Okay, that's what throws a lot of people. Is everything that's between those two asterisks, you are going to repeat that. And that's simple. I don't know why it throws a lot of people, but it does. So basically that's what that's going to mean. So when you go through this pattern, if you see the asterisk, just remember, you're just going to repeat what's in between there. So it's very simple. So that this pattern tells you your abbreviations, which most of them do. Okay, so that's the explanation for this pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and we are going to start with the pattern itself, and I'm going to read off everything as we go along and teach you to read this pattern for yourself. Alright, so I will be right back with you and we will start this up. Alright guys, we are back. So now what we're looking at, we are going to go ahead and start this pattern together. So if you're looking, we are going to follow along. So like I said, for those of you who get too anxious and don't like to wait, that's fine. You can move ahead. For those of you who want to learn to read a pattern, you can stand right here with me and we'll do this together. So the other thing that I didn't mention is when you see parentheses, the simplest way I can put this is, in my opinion, as a crochet teacher, anything in parentheses is an information section. This is just going to give you more information as to what's coming right after it, okay? Like for instance, right here in these parentheses, it's telling you you're going to make 2. So you're going to make 2 leg warmers. Very simple. Okay, so let's go ahead. We are going to chain with A, which as I said, A is going to be gray. You're going to chain 44, and you're going to, it says taking care not to twist the chain, and you're going to join with a slip stitch, which ST in our abbreviation section is for stitch, in first chain. So CH in the abbreviations is for chain, okay? So you're going to chain 44, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch once we have done that. Alright, so I'm going to now back up, and I'm going to remove the pattern, and then we're just going to start doing our chaining. So let's do our chaining. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44. Now, once you join this, you may want to double check and make sure that this is going to fit appropriately on whoever you're making this for, because you don't want to do all this work and it not fit. So these are for me, and I think they're going to fit me just fine. And understand that they do have some stretch, so they will have a little leeway to them. So now, as our pattern said, you don't want to twist the chain. Okay, so you just want to pull this out like this, and you just want to join without twisting. So you want to just make sure that you didn't twist, which I did. So I'm just going to turn that back around like this. Yep. Okay, so once you get it in there like that, you want to pull that yarn through and you're good to go. Now I'm going to put that down a second, and I'm going to zoom right back in here. Now if you're looking at round 1 and it says right side, which in parentheses is just giving you a little information. It's telling you right side, which we're going to work on the right side, which it sometimes patterns tell you to start on the wrong side. So this is just letting you know we're going to stay on the right side. Alright, so you're going to chain 2, and as I said, in parentheses, it says your chain 2 counts as your first half double crochet here and throughout. So again, in parentheses here, this is simply telling you a little bit of information. So don't let them parentheses throw you off. It gets intimidating to see this, I understand that, but it's not doing anything more here than giving you just a little bit of information to let you know that this chain 2 is going to count as a half double crochet. Okay, and that's it. Don't read into that. Then you're just going to go right here, half double crochet in each chain around. Simple. And then you're going to join with a slip stitch in the top of your beginning chain. And then you'll turn. This is telling you nothing more than how many half double crochet you should have, and that is also counting your chain 2, because this says count this counts as your first half double crochet. So you want to count your chain 2 in this. So you're going to have 44 half double crochet including your chain 2. Okay? So again, those parentheses is just giving you a little bit of information. So I'm just going to back this up now. Sorry guys, my camera's a little smudgy there. I had to wipe that off. Alright, so all that did was just give you that little bit of information. So what it says now is you're just going to do that chain 2. Zoom back in a bit for you. And now what you're going to do is half double crochet in each chain around, okay? So that one was 1, and then you're just going to go all the way around to do your half double crochet. 1 in each stitch. That's no big deal at all. So by the time that you get around, you should have a count of 44. And you will join into the top of the beginning chain, which is also your chain 2. That was the beginning stitch that we did. So just half double crochet. You can count as you go, or you can get around, and before joining you can count and make sure that they're all there. If you like, you can do it any way you like. Okay, so I'm going to finish these off camera here, and I will meet you up before joining, and we will move right along. Alright guys, I'm back. So now I have 44. You're going to count up 2, 1, 2, and you're going to join into the top of that chain 2. So now you have a ring. So now what we're going to do is you're now looking at round 2, and it says to chain 2, half double crochet in each stitch around with slip stitch in the top of the beginning. So all you're going to do at this point is do the same thing we just did. Chain 2. Okay? And you are going to half double crochet in each stitch. So you're going to just go all the way around again with a half double crochet in each stitch. So you will end up with another 44 half double crochet. And making sure you're going under both of those loops. Otherwise you're going to be going into either the back loop or the front loop only, and you're going to be putting ridges in your work, and you don't want that. So just go all the way around, and I will meet you up. Make sure that you join in the top of the chain 2, and then we will start the next round. Alright guys, we're back. Round 3 says you're going to chain 3. Now here's your parentheses again, only giving you information. Says you're going to count as first double crochet here and throughout. Very simple, okay? Now it says to double crochet in next stitch. Now you've got your asterisks right here. Now you've got one here, you've got one here. That means you're going to repeat this, all of this in these asterisks, okay? So you're going to double crochet in the next stitch. Then you're going to chain 2, skip the next 2 stitches, double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and repeat from asterisk to asterisk, okay? So then basically you're just going to keep doing this around, okay? And then when you get to the last 2 stitches, you'll join with a slip stitch in the top. It's very simple. This is what throws a lot of people. And I know, because I am told a lot of times, I run a crochet group and I'm always contacted about this. So again, in the parentheses, it's just a little information there, and the asterisk is just simply telling you to repeat what it's telling you to do. Instead of typing out or writing out to do this over and over and over and over, it's simple to just put two little asterisks here and tell you to do this, and then say asterisk, asterisk, repeat. So the asterisk is nothing more than telling you to do this, all of this here, all the way around. Very simple. Okay, so I'm going to now back up, and we're going to do that. So what that just said to do was we're going to chain up 3, and it says it counts as the double crochet here and throughout. Then you're going to double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and then in our asterisk it said chain 2. You're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then you're going to double crochet in the next 2. Okay, so basically, show you this again. In those asterisks is the simple pattern that you're going to follow for the whole round. It's nothing more. So you're just going to do this pattern for the entire round. So you're just going to keep chaining 2, skip 2, and then 2 double crochet. Okay? Simple. So repeating the pattern, you'll chain 2, skip 2, and do 2 double crochet. Back up a little bit. Repeat the pattern. Chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochet. That's the pattern. So they want you to go all the way around this, but they don't want to have to write that out on paper the whole time. So it's just easier to put in an asterisk and tell you to repeat it. So chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochet. So I'm hoping this is clarifying it for some of you. So repeat the pattern, chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochet. Chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochet. And that is all that those asterisks do. Is tells you to repeat a pattern all the way around the row. And that's all you do. So now I'm hoping that that is helping to clarify a lot of pattern reading for some of you, as far as, you know, the parentheses and the asterisks, because I know a lot of you get thrown with that, and it's really not that big of a deal. So, but I do understand that when you're new, it is a big deal, because it was a big deal to me. So, you know, just understand that it's one of those things you have to learn. And once you learn it, it's really not a big deal. It's just one of those things you have to learn, and you're like, this is awesome. She's right. It's not one of those things that's worth worrying over. And that's one of the things that I try to simplify for you, is so that you don't worry about what it means every time. You know what it means. Basically, we're here at the end, and it says when you get down to the last 2 stitches, you'll skip those 2, and you'll join at the very top of that beginning chain 3. Okay, and then this is what we have at the end of round 3. Yeah, round 3. Okay, so you'll have 22 double crochet, and let me show you what that's telling you here. So if you see at the bottom of round 3, it'll tell you you have 22 double crochet and 11 chain 2 spaces at the end of this round. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to take a break and I'm going to join you back at round 4. Alright guys, I'm back. So now round 4 is going to tell you you're going to chain 3, double crochet in the next 2 double crochet in the first chain 2 space. Okay, and then you have your asterisk again, so you have it here and here. So again, it's telling you you're just going to repeat what's in the asterisk from here to here. You're just going to repeat this all the way around this row, and then you're going to join with a slip stitch in the top of the beginning chain, and you're going to have 44. Okay, so basically that's all it's telling you. So, and we're going to also turn our work, so let's get started with round 4. So let me back up here. So after you've turned, let's move my paper, what you want to do is chain 3, and in this next in this next space, in the next double crochet, you're going to double crochet in the top of the next double crochet. Okay, and then what you're going to do is 2 double crochet in the first chain 2 space. So right here, then you're just going to put 2 double crochet in the first chain 2 space. Okay, and then you're just going to do 2 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So basically you're just going to double crochet all the way around. It's very simple. That's all you're going to do. You're just going to put 2 double crochet in the next chain 2 space, and a double crochet in the top of each double crochet, and you'll repeat that. So that's what the asterisks are telling you to do here in round 4. It's telling you to do nothing more than repeat the pattern. So 2 double crochet in the chain 2 space, and a double crochet in each double crochet. So 1 in each of the next 2. 2 double crochet in the chain 2 space, and 1 double crochet in the top of each of the next 2 double crochet. And then you just repeat that around, and you just keep going. And then we will join into the top of our chain 3. And yes, at the end of these rounds it tells you to turn, and you can do that. You should be turning. I usually don't, but either way it's fine. You can do that, and I kind of get into the point of when I'm teaching, sometimes the little parts like that I don't keep up with. So if you are seeing the word turn, you should be turning your project. Some people think that gives it a little bit different of a look at the end. Just go ahead and turn your project. I'm not going to be turning mine just because I'm trying to do more of a teaching tutorial here as far as learning this pattern. So just go ahead and turn your project as you go. But I won't be doing the turning part, just for reference on my part. Okay, so go ahead and complete this part. Join up at the end of round 4, and then I'll join you back for round 5. Alright guys, so now rounds 5 through 27. This is your long stretch and then you'll have one more row, which is round 28 before the edging. So rounds 5 through 27, you're going to chain 3, then you're going to double crochet in the next 2, and then here is where our special stitch comes into play. So remember, it's a front post double crochet around the next stitch, and then in our asterisk, this is our repetitive pattern, what we're going to repeat around our rows. You're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches, then you will front post double crochet around the next. Then you will join with a slip stitch in the beginning of the chain, and then you will turn, you guys will turn, and then you will repeat. Okay, so you will keep going, and you will do this row up until row 27. So you will need to get yourself a stitch marker or a contrasting piece of yarn and mark row 5, and then you will do this till you reach row 27. So you will just chain up 3 at the beginning of each round, and then you will just double crochet in the next 2 stitches and front post double crochet around the next. And then you will double crochet in the next 3, front post double crochet around the next. So let's get that part started. So basically what you're going to do, chain up 3, double crochet in the next 2, and then front post double crochet around the next. So you'll yarn over, you'll go around the back of that stitch, and then complete your double crochet. Okay? And then your repeating pattern is you will double crochet in the next 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then front post double crochet around the next. And then you're just going to repeat that. So 3 double crochet in a row. 1, 2, 3, and then your special stitch, which is your front post double crochet. Alright, and then you're just going to keep going. So you'll do 3 double crochet in a row. And then your front post double crochet. Alright, so then you'll do this all the way around, then you'll join up, you'll chain your 3, you'll turn your work, and then you'll do it all over again. And you'll just keep repeating this until you get to row 27, and then once I have gotten to row 27, I will join you back, and then we will do round 28, and once we do round 28, we'll be ready to do our edging. Okay? So go ahead and mark this round with your stitch marker. So come right back over here. Well, that stitch marker ain't going to work. It didn't even open up there. So go ahead and put it into the top where you started. That way you know that's your first row, or that's row 5 where you first started this. And go ahead and finish this round, join up, and go all the way to 27, and I will meet you back up once I have all of my rows complete, and then we will start row 28 together.